The 15th Finance Commission of India submitted the report to the President of India in November 2020. Today we are going to discuss the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission. We'll give you the broad highlights of the report. So first we should know the appointment of the commission, who are the members of the commission, who are the chairman of the commission, when did this commission get appointment. So we shall discuss all that. The 15th Finance Commission was appointed by the President of India as per the Article 280 on 27th November 2017. And the chairman of this 15th Finance Commission was Sri N.K. Singh, a former bureaucrat and a member of parliament and the former secretary to the government of India. And then there are two full-time members initially. One was Mr. Shaktikant Das, who was former finance secretary to the government of India, and later on he was sent to the Reserve Bank as the governor. So that post lied vacant, and then Mr. Ajay Narayan Jha, who was former finance secretary to the government of India, and he was also the secretary to the 15th Finance Commission of India. So he was appointed as a member of the 15th Finance Commission from March 1st, 2019. And then Professor Anup Singh, who is basically an adjunct professor in the Georgetown University, was also full-time member. So basically there are two full-time members in the 15th Finance Commission. And then there are also two part-time members. One was Dr. Ashok Lahiri, who was a non-executive part-time member. He was the chairman of the Bandhan Bank. And then Professor Ramesh Chand, who is a member of the Niti Aayog, was also a member of part-time member. In fact, I should also tell you that when there was a planning commission, to keep a better coordination between the Planning Commission and Finance Commission, always a member from the Planning Commission used to be a part-time member of the Finance Commission. So keeping in that tradition, now a member from the Niti Aayog is also a member of part-time member of the 15th Finance Commission. And then the Finance Commission needs a secretary who is usually a bureaucrat, and then Arvind Mehta was appointed as the secretary to the 15th Finance Commission of India. Then coming to the terms of reference, in fact, the terms of reference created a lot of controversy throughout the country, particularly the southern states had protested the use of the 2011 census population figures for the formula. And similarly, there are other terms of references that created a lot of controversy. Basically, if you look at the major highlight of the terms of reference, then it was basically to determine the distribution between the union and states of the net proceeds of the taxes. And then the 15th Finance Commission was asked to review and comment on the design of fiscal principles for various grants. So that created a lot of controversy throughout the country. That why should the Finance Commission go for evaluating basically the performance of the states? So that was basically Finance Commission was asked to consider the performance-based incentives in a variety of policy areas. So that is a major highlight of the terms of reference of the 15th Finance Commission. Then there was some departure from the past. One was, as I told, that use of 2011 population figures, wherever population is used for sharing the money between union and states and among the states, particularly among the states, you can say. And this Finance Commission had 4 volumes of the report. Usually the previous Finance Commission used to have 2 reports. So there will be one main report, and then the second report will have all the annexures, basically all the details like terms of references, and then the visits of the Finance Commission to different places, and then basically consultation with the states and other agencies. So those used to come in the second report. And but this 15th Finance Commission had 4 reports. So the volume 1 reverted basically to the main report, and then second part was like the annexes, like the previous commission's report. It included the annexures, And then volume 3 basically was devoted to the union government, which examined the key departments in greater depth, and the medium-term challenges and the roadmap ahead was also discussed. And then the fourth report was devoted to the states, and it analyzed the finance of each state in great depth. And then it also came up with the state-specific considerations to address the key challenges that individual states face. And then after the original notification, some additional notifications were terms of reference were given to the Finance Commission. So originally, the 15th Finance Commission was asked to recommend formula for transferring resources from union to states and among states for a period of 5 years that starts from 1st April 2020. However, the tenure, the term of the 15th Finance Commission was extended by 1 month on 29th July 2019, and it was asked to submit the report by 30th November 2019. And it was later also asked to examine whether a separate mechanism for funding of defense and internal security and its operationalization is required. So this also created, this additional terms of reference also created a lot of controversy throughout the country, because anyway the defense is a subject of the union list, and then when a separate terms of reference is given to the Finance Commission to examine whether a separate mechanism for funding of defense and internal security is required, then that also created a lot of controversy throughout the country. And then some other notifications were given later on, and the Commission was asked on 29th November 2019 to submit 2 reports. The first report would be for financial 2020-21, and the second report would be from 2021-22 to 2025-26. So ideally, actually, the Finance Commission's recommendations are applicable for 5 years, but no, this Finance Commission was asked basically to submit 2 reports. One first report, basically you can say, although interim, although it was in true sense complete report for 1 year, but you can say interim report for 1 year, and then another report for complete 5 years. So up to 2025-26. And then it was basically asked to submit the report. The date of submission, the Finance Commission submitted the first report on 30th November 2019, and then the complete report was submitted on 30th October 2020. So the first report was submitted on December 5, 2019, and then the second report, the complete report, was submitted on November 9th, 2020 to the President of India. Then the major recommendation of the Finance Commission are basically, you can say that the vertical devolution and the horizontal devolution. That means whatever tax revenues are generated by the union government, the net tax proceeds are to be distributed among between the union and the states. If suppose the union government collects 100 rupees tax, both direct taxes and indirect taxes, then how much it should keep it itself with itself, and then how much it should transfer to the states. Remember, the Finance Commission does not transfer the sales surcharges and non-tax revenues to the states. It only recommends formula to transfer the tax revenues, and that is the net proceeds of the tax receipts. That is what is written in the Constitution. So that's why sales surcharges and non-tax revenues are not distributed among the states. The states are also protesting that nowadays union government is collecting a lot of non-tax revenues and sales and surcharges, but it is not sharing with the states. So whatever that controversy is, the Constitution says that the Finance Commission has to recommend a formula to share the resources, particularly the net proceeds of the taxes, between union and states. That is vertical devolution. And the 15th Finance Commission has recommended to transfer 31 percentage to the states. Remember, the 14th Finance Commission had recommended to transfer 32 percentage of the net proceeds of the tax revenue to the states, but 15th Finance Commission recommended to transfer only 31 percentage of the net tax revenues to the states. And the reason is that Jammu Kashmir state actually became union territory, and then Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, to separate union territories were created. So that basically adds to the responsibilities of the union government, and then that's how 1% was reduced. But otherwise, the 15th Finance Commission has almost followed the similar principle as followed by the 14th Finance Commission. So now, once that 31 rupees or 31 percentage is coming to the divisible pool, that will be distributed among the states. That is called as horizontal devolution. So for that horizontal devolution, the 15th Finance Commission has used 6 criteria for distributing the resources among the states. So the first criteria is population, and that is 2011 population. So that gets 15% weight, and then area gets 15% weight, geographical area, and then forest and ecology has got 10% weight, and then income distance has got 35% weight, and then tax and fiscal efforts got 2.5% weight, and then demographic performance got 12.5% weight. So that means we can say that 15% weight has gone for the incentive, or basically the performance. That means, I told you that in the beginning that the 15th Finance Commission was asked to basically incentivize the states that are performing better. But what should be the indicator for this? That created a lot of controversy. And then 15th Finance Commission used 2 indicators, particularly in the sharing of the taxes for transferring the resources. And one is the tax and fiscal efforts of the states, and other is the demographic performance. So we can say that the indicator population that used 2011 figures and the use of demographic performance basically is trying to make a balance between the states that were opposing initially that use of 2011 population will adversely affect their revenue position, because the states that have achieved actually the low population growth figures would be adversely affected, and that there are at least 12 states like that. Their population figures have basically, the population growth has declined, so they were fearing that they may lose out of this. But the 15th Finance Commission has made a balance by using the demographic performance indicator and it giving a very high weight to 12.5% weight. So basically, there are 6 indicators used for the horizontal distribution. This is also called as inter-se transfer of the resources. That is basically how to distribute that 31% resource among the states. And there are 6 indicators used for this purpose. Now, after so the Finance Commission recommends formula to transfer resources. One is that share in the taxes, and for that I told that we have vertical and horizontal devolution criteria, and then it also recommends the grants in aid to the states, and then it also gives grants in aid to the local governments. It gives grants in aid to the disaster management of the states. That is we are going to discuss. So we discussed, in fact, the major part of the money that flows from the union to the states, that actually comes through the share in the taxes, and also a small amount actually comes through the grants in aid recommended by the Finance Commission. And so the first one is the revenue deficit grant. Basically, how this is estimated is that the states give a revenue projection number to the Finance Commission, and they say that in the coming 5 years, this is how we are going to mobilize revenue, and this is how we are going to spend. So based on that, they also show whether they will have deficit or surplus with the states, and accordingly, now Finance Commission gives a formula that is basically the share in the union taxes. Now, after the transfer of those revenue under the share in the union taxes, if at all there will be some deficit, then the Finance Commission gives a revenue deficit grant to those states that will have some deficit in the coming 5 years. And then, other than that, it also gives sector-specific grants in it. For your information, the Patent Finance Commission did not give any sector-specific grants; it only gave revenue deficit grants. But 15 Finance Commission has given sector-specific grants. One reason could be that due to the arrival of this COVID-19 pandemic, it actually basically called for special attention for the health sector and online education things. So that could be one of the reasons why the 15th Finance Commission has chosen to give sector-specific grants in it. And this has the 15th Finance Commission has given state-specific grants for health amounting to about 4,800 crores for the entire five-year period. So basically, it is of course 4 years because from 2022 actually it will start. So that's how 1,200 crores per year, and it will give 4,800 crores to the all the states. And then it also proposed that the 15th Finance Commission has proposed to create an all India health service wrangler, just like Indian Administrative Service, Indian Statistical Service, Indian Economic Service. It has recommended to create a cadre all India health service. And then for education, it has given grants for technology related solutions, particularly for online education. It has given 5,078 crores for different type of online courses, like it could be through internet, it could be through television, it could be through radio, and so different platforms. And it has also given grants, it is 1,065 crore rupees for the development of professional courses in the regional language. You should know that the new education policy emphasizes on translating the knowledge into the mother tongue and providing higher education in the regional languages. So 15th Finance Commission has given special allocation for this, basically to translate professional courses in the regional languages. And then it has also given incentive grant for the states to improve these outcomes of school education using the performance grading of Ministry of Education. So it wants to basically improve the quality of the school education, and for that it will give incentive grant that 4,800 crore will actually be used as incentive grants based on the performance grading index of the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Then it has given grants for the rural economy, and out of that 45,000 crores for the agricultural reforms, and 27,539 crore for maintenance of Prime Minister's Gram Sadak Yojana. And so within that agriculture reforms, it actually basically talks about the land reform, sustainable and efficient use of water in agriculture, export promotion, and providing a push to more remunerative crops like oil seeds, pulses, and wood products. For your information, so know that India is one of the largest importers of the oil seeds and pulses, and that is why basically the edible oil it imports huge quantity. It puts a lot of pressure on the balance of payment. So Finance Commission is trying to incentivize the states to increase the production of oil seeds so that India can become self-sufficient in this in edible oil and pulses and oil seeds. And it also wants to bring reform in the agriculture sector, particularly by enhancing the agricultural export. And then it gives the Federal Finance Commission has given grants for the governance and administrative reforms, and for this it has allocated 10,425 crores for creating or establishing fast track courts. So the objective is to strengthen the judiciary, and it wants to basically establish a set of fast track courts for speedier justice delivery in cases of heinous crimes, civil cases of marginalized people, 5-year-old property cases, and economic offences, as well as special fast track courts for cases under the POCSO, that is Protection of Children from Sexual Offence Act 2000 12. Then it has also given grants for improvement in statistics, and it has allocated 1,107 crore rupees for improving the quality of statistics. And then it has given grants for aspirational districts and blocks that will be entirely performance based. So for this, it has kept 500 crores. And then for power sector reform, the Finance Commission has provided additional borrowing limit for states based upon a performance matrix targeted at improving the functioning of the distribution company. Basically, so there is no direct allocation of funds for bringing the power sector reform, but it has said that the states can borrow extra amount 0.5 percentage of their GSDP if they are able to improve the performance by basically reducing the transmission and distribution losses. And Niti Aayog will be basically monitoring this. And then some national considerations were given, like in the beginning I have told that the separate terms of reference was given to the 15th Finance Commission to see whether a separate funding mechanism is required for the national defense and the internal security. And for that, the 15th Finance Commission has proposed to create a non-lapsable pool for the defense and internal security sector under the Public Accounts of India with standard reporting and audit requirements, with the goal to ensure that committed capital expenditure of sector can be met in a predictable way. And then, those are sector-specific grants. Other than the sector-specific grants, the 15th Finance Commission also gives state-specific grants. And under state-specific grants, it has given 39,599 crore rupees to all the few states. And for those state-specific grant, it has looked at the social needs, administrative governance and infrastructure, conservation and sustainable use of water, drainage and sanitation, and preserving culture and historical monuments, and high-cost capital infrastructure and tourism. In the past also, different finance commissions have used different indicators to provide state-specific grants. Something urgent is required which could not be fulfilled through, the share in taxes or the grants in aid. Then a specific grant, of course, this is a small amount grant actually that comes to a specific state for specific project, and this is a tired grant. You can see you have to spend this for money for that specific purpose only. So 15th Finance Commission has given 39,000 rupees, 39,599 crores for state specific grants. Then the Finance Commission also gives grants to the local governments, and 15th Finance Commission has given grants worth 4,36,361 crore for the duly constituted local government. Basically, there should be election on the regular interval, then only you can get the money. And then nowadays that money directly comes from the union, the Finance Commission, to the Panchayat Raj institutions or the local governments. And just like the 14th Finance Commission, the 15th Finance Commission has used two criteria. One is the population and the geographical area of the panchayat for getting the money. And so this Finance Commission has used a fixed amount. Actually, it has not given a formula and what percentage of the total net proceeds of the union government will be transferred to the panchayats. It has given fixed amount, that is 4,36,361 crore. And the reason or justification given by the 15th Finance Commission is that it will give basically a greater predictability of the amount how much panchayats are going to get. And then out of this, 8,000 crore will be given based on the performance for incubation of new cities, and 450 crore will be shared among the for the municipal services. And so 70,051 crore will be given to strengthen and plug critical gaps in the healthcare system and primary healthcare. So the rest amount is distributed among the rural local bodies and the urban local bodies. And 2,36,805 crore will go to the rural local bodies, and 1,21,055 crore will go to the urban local bodies. And And the Finance Commission also recommends formula to assist the states in the disaster management. And nowadays we have the State Disaster Response Fund, and we have National Disaster Response Fund. And the Philippine Finance Commission has recommended 1,60,153 crore rupees for the State Disaster Response and Management Fund. In fact, this has basically taken a broader approach. It's not only the mitigation approach you take, rather the state should also look at the state disaster preparedness should be included, and creating the capacity to basically create the disaster resilient infrastructure. So it has taken a broader approach, and the Philippine Finance Commission has recommended 1,60,153 crore for the State Disaster Management Fund. So to sum up, we can say that the Philippine Finance Commission has basically recommended 31% of the net proceeds of the union government to be shared among the states, and then it has used 6 criteria for distributing the resources among the states, and it has used 2011 population. It has created separate mechanism for the defense funding, and then it has also given grants in aid, sector specific grants in aid, and that is for health, for education, for basically administration or governance, you can say the judiciary, then for power sector reform. It has given additional borrowing capacity to the states, and for online education, for adding to the health capacity of the states, and similarly it has given funding for the state specific requirements, and then it has given funds for the local governments, and it has given funds for the disaster management of the states. That's all. Thank you so much.